The biggest reveal in One Piece is about to happen. When I say the biggest, I mean one of the biggest, or at least a significant reveal on the largest island. The Straw Hats are at Elbaf, but they're not the only ones. Big News Morgans is also there, and he's excited by all the recent events. He's planning to break the news about the battles between Law and Blackbeard and Eustass Kid and Shanks. While it's expected for Morgans to report on these big events, it's curious how he got the information, since both battles happened in isolation. No one witnessed the fight between Law and Blackbeard, and though there were many people during Shanks vs. Kid, they were all either Elbaf natives or part of Shanks' fleet. This makes me wonder if Morgans has spies within both the Red Hair and Blackbeard pirates, so he can be the first to get the news. As expected, Morgans is about to turn the entire world against Luffy by publishing that Luffy killed Dr. Vegapunk. I've been worried about this outcome for a while. We knew Morgans wouldn't make Luffy a hero ever since he reported on the siege and portrayed Luffy as the villain. To follow through with his narrative, Morgans needs to do this, and it shows the unchecked power he has. Now, anyone who doesn't personally know Luffy will believe he's the most evil person in the world, who must be stopped at all costs. This will probably increase support for the Marines and the world government in their race to find the One Piece before Luffy does, because no one wants the bad guy to get it. If Luffy finds the treasure, he might use it for evil purposes. If Big News Morgans had stayed quiet, all the pressure would be on the world government right now, demanding answers about the recent events. From the perspective of newspaper readers, Luffy is on the verge of becoming the next Roxy Zebek, a global terrorist who won't stop until he's destroyed everything. The world is now terrified, all thanks to Morgans. Normally, I don't get chills thinking about Morgans because he's usually on our side, but when he said he doesn't care if the world sinks, it painted a terrifying picture of the future. Morgans is using his influence to make sure the world government succeeds in destroying what's left of the world. An apocalypse is an exciting story, after all, and he'd do it just to sell a 100-berry newspaper. Then we see Sentomaru, who I'm glad to see is alive and relatively okay, but his solo journey away from Egghead Island is the saddest boat trip I've seen since young Robin left O'Hara. The big question now is, where does Sentomaru go from here? We know more about this part of the world than most because the Egghead Arc has been clear about the surrounding locations. But if you're leaving Egghead, there aren't many places to go. One option is a marine base, but that's probably not a good idea after his betrayal. Another interesting option is for Sentomaru to head to Wano. He could also come to Elbaf with us, or maybe go to Winter Island, though I don't remember much about it. In a twist, we now see everyone else on the ground while Kizaru is standing, flipping the situation from earlier when everyone was standing and Kizaru was down. This chapter delivered exactly what I wanted from Kizaru, a clear statement on where he stands emotionally after all the terrible things he's done on this island in the name of justice. Kizaru gets a full-on crying panel, complete with nose dripping, something I never expected to see from him or any admiral. They're usually so stoic and firm-minded. I feel a bit bad because I've made fun of Kizaru a lot during this arc, and he's become a bit of a meme on this channel. But knowing where he really stands, it's going to be hard to go back and reread this arc, knowing how much he's struggling with this mission. This chapter has completely changed my view of him. Before, I thought he was just a man beaten down by the system, doing wrong because his will had been eroded, leaving him as nothing more than a walking function. But now I see him as a man pursuing justice in his own unclear way. He's not the unfeeling shell I made him out to be. If anything, he's so driven by his idea of justice that he's had to break every moral barrier for what he believes will make the world better. I now see Kizaru more like Akainu, as his actions reflect absolute justice, but the key difference is certainty. Akainu commits terrible acts with absolute confidence that he's right, while Kizaru does the same, hoping he's on the right path but without being sure, hence unclear justice. The flashback with Vegapunk was brief but impactful. Kizaru calls Vegapunk his best friend, which makes him seem like a lonely man with few friends outside of work. He does share a brotherly bond with Akainu. It was revealed to us when Akainu called him by his real name, Borsalino. Akainu is furious about the Marine's failure at Egghead Island and lashed out at Kizaru, who responds by asking, "Have you tried to kill your best friend?" and challenges Akainu to see for himself if he has doubts. Akainu backs off and apologizes, which is significant given the scale of the failure. We also need to mention Saint Saturn, who has been absent for 2 chapters. It feels like we're moving away from Egghead Island and heading to Elbaf, but I'm curious about what happened to him. As for the Straw Hats, Zoro, Jinbei, and Frankie are left on the Thousand Sunny while everyone else is with the Giants. I love this combination, and there's a reason these 3 were chosen. Firstly, Jinbei is the helmsman, so he can't just abandon the ship to party with the Giants. This shows the trust the crew, especially Nami, has in him, otherwise, she would have stayed to navigate. Frankie is there because he's the ship's technician, a role that can't easily be replaced. And Zoro stays with the Sunny in case a strong enemy shows up, which is possible since they know a marine fleet and 5 powerful figures are chasing them. Zoro takes Luffy's status seriously, much like he did when Usopp left the crew in Water 7. In Zoro's mind, the life of one old man is weighed against one of the 4 most influential pirates in the world. But what he's missing is that for Luffy, a promise is a promise, no matter how big or small. If Luffy can't keep his word to save the old man, it casts doubt on his claim to becoming the Pirate King. This chapter is important because it shows Luffy did keep his promise, which is crucial for maintaining his confidence and preventing another situation like with Ace. Oda adds some humor with Chopper saying Luffy is so depressed he's only managed to eat 5 bunches of giant grapes. In essence, all the Vegapunks still live on within Lilith. There's a part in the chapter where it seems like Lilith is processing information she wasn't conscious of, like an update being installed. Now that Lilith is the last surviving Vegapunk, apart from York, I wonder if she's no longer just the aspect of evil. Maybe she's hearing the voices of all the other Vegapunks, essentially becoming the complete Vegapunk by combining all their aspects into one, except for greed, which was Vegapunk's key flaw. This could mean that Lilith is now a perfected version of Vegapunk, free from greed's corrupting influence and truly capable of realizing Vegapunk's dreams. Surprisingly, Egghead Island has a happy ending for the Straw Hats, complete with their customary crew toast, which I think is Jinbei's first official toast. One small detail I love is seeing the full couch and how tiny the Straw Hats look on it. They even needed a huge ladder just to get up there. This is a preview of what's to come on Elbaf. Wano may have been our longest journey, but Elbaf is definitely going to be our biggest. Oda is about to go wild with scale like never before, and I can't wait to see the artistic insanity that will follow. True to Oda's style, the chapter doesn't end without a cliffhanger, and we get one in the form of an Elbaf silhouette. It seems someone is waiting for the crew, which makes sense since the Giants were sent to pick them up. I doubt it's Saul, though, judging by the hat. There's a lot of hope that this person might solve one of One Piece's longest-standing mysteries who Crocus was talking to on the cover of chapter 631. Given how friendly this figure was with Crocus, my first guess would be Scopper Gaban since they were both on the same crew. Even though the hair color doesn't match, that's not important because the official digitally colored manga often guesses at color schemes that Oda later confirms as different. Let me know in the comments who you think this figure is, and we'll explore other possibilities in the next video.